just make it so that it's yeah, an easy flow. So Rickard, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you.
So can you just let everyone know where you're actually from at the moment? So where are you based?
So I'm based in Germany. I'm originally from Sweden, and moved out of Sweden, Stockholm, 2011, so 14 years ago. And things have been moving quickly since then. Been going through many things. I'm also actually native Finnish, so I was born Finnish, even though I was born in Sweden. I had a Finnish passport until I was 18, and 18 years old, you get this nice little letter from the military in Finland saying like, "Hey, we need you to come over for duty," and that was like not the right moment for me to go to Finland and go into military, and so I became Swedish citizen instead, and that's a bit of my background when it comes to nationalities. But nowadays I speak four different languages on a daily basis. That's kind of my get-go. So Swedish, Finnish, English, and German. That's like all the time. So sometimes when I'm speaking English, like today, it's been a long day, so sometimes I get these like brain farts. I just get silenced and need to find a word. That's kind of what happens when you're lingual, so to say.
Yeah. You're what I'd call a cunning linguist. The closest I come to, I did bloody GCSE, so really kind of 14, 15-year-old German, and every now and again I have to speak to Scottish people, and that's almost a different language. So so Seamaster question: is it really the military though? Kind of more like volunteering. So is that the kind of slant in from Finland?
So Finnish history, as some people might know, has some periods of Russian in it. And when Finland became independent, which is a bit more than 100 years ago from Russia, then Russia has always been, on the, it's the biggest neighbor, the biggest border. So that's always been the major threat, and the military in Finland has always been the biggest, and it's always been the longest. So even though I was not living in Sweden, they really want you over, and usually it's about 18 months of mandatory military. And we also had that in Sweden back in the time when I was at that age. So I got called to the Swedish military. But the Swedish military was already going down in budgets for every year. So we basically demilitarized during those years. So when you got to the military, you basically just had to blink with your eye and say like, military, I've thought about it, but I have a bad knee. And they're like, okay, cool. You don't have to do it.
Right.
So.
Okay. So almost voluntary, on the border of voluntary, yeah.
Yeah.
Good. So Magnus, I believe Magnus is Swedish.
That looks very Swedish, yeah. Magnus Holmgren, yeah.
Finnish got the Sisu and the Ilkarinai. Yeah, Sisu's one. Do you know what? I actually watched that 2-3 weeks ago just to remind myself of Mikko and the savagery that he is. And it's obviously Savon's work from back in the day, so that always helps.
Yeah, I love that. That was a great documentary.
So how old are you again, Rickard? Remind me.
Well, I usually tend to say that I'm about 29, but in reality it's 40. So yeah.
Okay, well, me too. So we're the same age. So that's great. It's really strange. The last few guests I've had have all been 40. That's completely coincidental, but never mind.
Yeah.
Ken. Saunas in the cabins, yeah, hell yeah. Do you keep up with that? Is that like, is it in your blood to go to the sauna and well, whilst you're in Germany?
Oh yeah. So I have a sauna at home. It's very important. And every Finn in Finland has a sauna at home. In Germany, it's not so common, and it's totally different cultures in Finland and in Germany. In Germany, sauna is about like this ultimate relaxation where you have peace and quiet, and it's always on time. So in Germany, you have these like clocks on the wall that says how long you're in the sauna. It's always like 15 minutes. It has like a sign with like, first you do 15 minutes of this, and after 15 minutes you go out and you have to do these kind of relaxing exercises, and then you do 15 minutes again. Just reading that, I get like anxious.
That sounds so unlike German.
Yeah. And then when you are inside the sauna, you're not allowed to speak. You're not allowed to make any kind of noise, and you have to be butt naked. And in Finland, that's like the social club. That's where you go. That's like the pub, right? So after work, you go to the sauna. You hang out with your mates. You talk about whatever topics that are up, because Finns don't talk so much. Where we talk is usually in the sauna. I'm like, I never really lived in Finland for an extended period, but that is like commonly what happens when you're in Finland, and yeah, what I've experienced there. So maybe I just ran into the best Finns when I was there.
Potentially, yeah. Jake, don't mix up Nordic saunas and sauna clubs in Germany. Yeah. Well, from what I gather, they're very different. Yeah. Which is probably where Sean's coming from with this. So, guys, Rickard is an avid viewer of Savon's show, so he all knows who you are, by the way. So, Sean, you can't hide.
Yeah, behave.
So, Rickard, born in Finland, moved to Sweden, and then you move out of Sweden 2011. Where did you head to next? Was it straight to Germany?
Yes. So my adequate plan was to go to Germany for a couple of months, and after Germany, I wanted to go to Vienna, and from Vienna to Australia. And Australia was like the end goal because of I was there 2007 or so, and it was just the dream land because people were happy, smiley, awesome attitude, awesome food, awesome nature, but really far away. So I wanted to like not do the ripping of the band-aid, but go like slowly and see how it was to emigrate. And I had the awesome opportunity. So I was working as a consultant for some Swedish companies. And when I basically broke the news that, hey, I'm going to move abroad, and I thought like I will lose all my business. I will need to figure out what to do in Germany. And that was kind of the challenge. But I got like super good reactions for that, and rather like, hey, could you help us with business development in Germany? And so I had like a really good runway to move to Germany. I could continue doing business, and I started with more business development in not only in Germany, but like in Europe per se. And I didn't speak much German back then, but I needed to learn quickly because when you do business development, there's a lot of like, you need to connect with people. And the best way you can connect with people, and I learned this from, speaking, my mother tongue is Swedish and Finnish. And I knew like when I did business in Finland, I always had an upper hand because I knew the culture. I knew kind of what to say, how not to speak, when not to speak. And people like Swedish people might get very anxious when they go to Finland because people are not that talkative. So I was not that. And I knew if I go to Germany and I speak German, I'm going to be mastering the culture way, way better. So I quickly just picked up, and I did tons of mistakes. And but within like 6 months, I was doing like cold calls with my phone to German companies, and yeah, I had to figure out how to get my foot inside the door. Yeah,
integration, I guess, is the key there, isn't it?
yeah.
Okay, so business consultancy, moved to Germany with the master plan for going through. We'll come back to business consultancy in a bit because I think that might answer a few of my questions later on. So talk me through your. So the first post that I found of yours referencing CrossFit is 2014. Would that be about right for you when you kind of stumbled across CrossFit?
No, not really. It was 2009, I would
Wow.
say.
Okay, great. And where was that? Was that obviously in Sweden?
That was in Stockholm, yes.
Was that
And
Nordic?
no, it was. Yeah, I was training at a new studio called Balance Gym, and Balance Gym was owned or is owned by the Swedish Prince Daniel, and he, for people that don't know, the Prince of, and he's going to be the king sometime in the future if the king dies. But he was the personal trainer of our queen, and they got married and they have kids now.
Wow.
I don't know much about the royal family more than that, but he was a personal trainer, and when he got super famous, he opened up multiple of these gyms. One of these were called Balance Gym, and one of the personal trainers there that I had when I started, he was a CrossFit addict, and I come from like I was a push gym, yeah, sure. I had a background of playing ice hockey, so I've done a lot of cleans. I've done front squats and presses and all that stuff. So this was really cool to meet a personal trainer that also talked about these things. And yeah, we did some, and he was like talking about these crazy things, like, yeah, you would do like kettlebell swings 100 at a time, and there's like this competition going on this weekend, and it's like multiple of these things in a row, and blah blah blah. And I didn't pay too much attention, but I thought it was pretty cool with the kettlebells and the barbell work. So I really liked the training, and yeah, so that's kind of where I started with that, but I didn't pay too much attention. And then fast forward to Germany, then I was working in a architect's office, and I was not an architect, but this architect's office had multiple levels, and I was like on one level with a couple of other entrepreneurs and consultants. And the guy who I shared my room with, he was like, damn, I think I'm going to open up a CrossFit gym. And he had sold his shares in a startup company, and he had some money and board. He had like experienced burnout, and then he had done CrossFit, and he was like, okay, I think I want to do this. And so he was looking for locations. I was helping out with some drafts, and then with his location, then when it comes started, that's where I then really emerged into a CrossFit gym. And yeah, I was there before there were any tiles, and we did our first, lunges and med ball stuff, whatever. So that was 2014 then. Yeah.
Lovely. And this is in Berlin.
This is in Berlin, yes.
Lovely. And this isn't, we're not at Escapist yet, are we?
No, this was CrossFit Mitte.
Okay.
So yeah,
Lovely.
that's kind of how I got back into the scene of fitness or CrossFit.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just to rewind very, very quickly, briefly, ice hockey. So we've got a lot of American viewers on at the moment. So ice hockey, where did you play that, and kind of what level did you play that out? Complete novice and ignorant here to the game of ice hockey. So treat me like I know nothing about it.
Yeah, it definitely feels like life ages ago. But yeah, I played like in the elite league until I was 19 or 20. And at that point, you're like in this, well, basically you're graduating high school, and then you have to kind of decide if you want to continue with the path of like 7 days of a week of training, games everywhere, or education. And I figured out, I was playing in a rock band back then, and I was doing a lot of like rock music and traveling around with that. And I thought that was a bit more exciting, I guess, after doing ice hockey for my entire life. And yeah, so it was like, okay, I'm definitely drinking too much alcohol for making this as a professional business. And but yeah, no, I played until then, and then after that I shifted down to like more in a playful scene, and I played we created our own group called the Iron League. If people want to Google that, there's a lot of like fun videos of fightings and and firework and whatever. Yeah, it was really back in the days.
Excellent. I know Ken's massively involved with ice hockey. I think one of his sons plays in the US, so he's just asked if you ever played in the US.
Oh no, I haven't played in the US, but many of my old friends play there. So where I played in Sweden and Stockholm was a club called that nobody in the States or anywhere can pronounce, but it's called Järfälla Hockey Club, and we had some good names from there, like Hävelid, Marcus Nilsson, who was in Tampa Bay. Yeah, just to name a few, basically. But we usually nurtured a lot of good players that went to the biggest clubs and then went abroad.
Right. Okay, cool. Lovely. Okay, so the reason I asked that is just interesting as well, but also I'd like to get an idea about your sporting background and how that led towards CrossFit and your kind of biases within CrossFit. So we'll come to that in a bit. You're a traveler. I've seen quite a lot of your posts. You've been everywhere, it would seem. I've seen videos of you in the US, Colombia, all around Europe. You go skiing, you go, bloody snowboarding, yeah, everything. What brought that on? Was that something just in you? You said earlier you wanted to go to Australia and move around there, but what was that from a young age? You just knew you were a traveler. You wanted to move and go.
Good question. I don't know. I think I mostly never have planned many trips myself. It's only because things have happened somewhere that I need to go there, and then I usually combine those with something fun to do. So
right.
All my trips to the US has always been business related, and then I tend to do other stuff when I'm going there. My wife loves to travel, so she's the one usually picking places where to go. And yeah, for myself, I'm not too much into the traveling. I thought I was. So when I moved to Berlin, I was really into, every month I was flying back and forth to different countries, different cities. And I quickly realized that the only thing you do when you do that kind of work is that you see airports and you see taxis and you see hotel rooms. And you might have this like huge curriculum of places you've been to, but you're actually just seeing the same thing in different places. And now I'm a bit more, let's say, thoughtful of doing stuff when I'm somewhere. So I actually experience maybe something else. It doesn't have to be huge. Like I don't need to do any adventures of like, I don't know, climb a mountain or so. Maybe I will in the future, who knows? But right now it's more like basically escaping the shitty weather. It's usually a good excuse.
Yeah, I know that feeling. Yeah. Yeah. I was going to say my wife likes to travel as well, but I don't get invited. She just goes off to the States, to Wodapalooza or to the games without me. So
oh yeah.
so yeah, I'm with you there. So career prior to CrossFit. So your friend has opened up his gym. This is about 2014. When do we get to Escapist, which is your affiliate you're at now with? Then when does that start? When do the kind of wheels start turning, and when does that become kind of thought to reality for you?
Yeah, so I think like many people that open up a gym, they've had this like pivoting experience happening in their life. For me, it was becoming a dad, and when I became a father, then it was like my big reflection was to look a bit deeper inside me and what I want to spend my time with, and this CrossFit thing came at the same time, right? So I started doing that more and more, and I had a bunch of stress, and CrossFit was the catalyst of keeping me mentally, emotionally, physically in good shape. And I also explored tremendous amount of new experience in this, meaning that I didn't do before. So just in training methodology and everything, I started to pick up like this is just as we did it, way more effective than all the training we'd done in ice hockey preparations and all that stuff. And I saw like this huge missing link in physical preparedness for like ice hockey players, at least. This has changed a bit now. Like they're doing more of the CrossFit stuff in ice hockey, but still there's like a huge knowledge gap when it comes to the capacity you can build up in a normal person by doing CrossFit. And so it kind of saved me. It saved my mental space. It saved me, and I guess it built some kind of character. And after that, it was like, okay, what am I going to focus on? And at the same time, there was this other dude from Chile that was training at the same facility as me, and he had a son who was I think he's like 10 days younger than my daughter, so same age. So we trained always at the same time, and we brought our wives. So they started training, and then we were like sharing the baby care, carrying in between. And we spent, every week at least 4-5 hours walking around with the kids, playing with the kids, talking. He came from investment banking or private equity, and he moved to Berlin, and we were kind of experienced almost the same kind of change in our lives. So after talking to him about this for about 2 years, our wives were like, "You have to stop talking about this and do something." So that's when we said, like, okay, maybe we should just buy ourselves into this gym where we're training at. And we didn't come to any good agreement there. So we were looking for spaces. And after looking at a lot of different spaces, suddenly I got a phone call. And that was when I was in Barcelona or so, that we have the opportunity to get the space. And it's down central Berlin, middle of the town, really cool location. It was definitely not the size or anything that we had planned for, but like I usually say in Berlin, at least, it's always like the space kind of picks you, and then you have to figure out what you're going to do with it. And it's like the training space is about 94 square meters. So in American terms, that's about 1,000 square feet of training room. And then we have another room that is a bit of a personal training space, locker rooms, and a front desk. So we have two of these spaces. It's below the trains and train rails in the central Berlin. And these were there before the First World War and the Second World War. And
Wow, okay. Lovely. I'm in love with the architecture on this building. It reminds me of a unit that I was looking at in Windsor, where my old affiliate was. But the brickwork and just the space and just the lighting, and it's just cool. It just looks so German. It's slick. It's just neat and tidy, and it looks efficient, and it's just beautiful. There's just something about it that just is really appealing to me. Yeah, I'm a little bit of a sucker for brickwork. I had a gym, Calithia, from Athens on a couple of weeks ago, and they've got this insane feature wall inside of like Greek brickwork, and with the similar kind of feel to what you've got there. So it's yeah, I absolutely love what you've done there. Good. So it's a relatively small floor for the gym, but as we'll come on to, Two Brain talk a lot about, it's not the size of the gym that you've got, is it? It's how you use it. So remind me which year it was that you opened up.
2016, we got the keys.
Great.
And
Okay.
then we kind of, German paperwork and everything, officially middle of 2017, but we were already operating like the 31st of December 2016. And when we opened up, we didn't have a rig. We didn't have any barbells. And I think we had a couple of kettlebells. We had 9 plyo boxes and some jump ropes. So all our workouts at the beginning were wall walks, box jumps, squats, some kettlebell swings, and
yeah, classic CrossFit, just Metcons. Yeah. You know, I talk about this all the time, but I feel quite lucky and fortunate that the first box that I went to was run by a guy that was just all about Metcons and nutrition. So the first couple of years, I had a perfect introduction to CrossFit. It wasn't weightlifting and gymnastics and sport. It was the bottom of the pyramid, and I absolutely nailed those two for about 2 years. So I felt kind of lucky in hindsight, looking back, that I had that as a really good base. Just a quick one before we move on then. One thing that I've noticed, and I noticed this with Magnus, who actually was on the show a couple of weeks ago, that Magnus is in Tromsø in Norway, and he absolutely sung your praises. Yeah.
I talked to him today.
Oh, right, lovely. You know what? He's such a nice guy, and he sang your praises so much. He couldn't think of anything bad to say about you. When I looked at his Instagram page and the posts, there was one glaringly obvious thing to me about all of the posts. It was the smiles. It was the happy faces. And as I was looking through this, every single time I looked on here, it was happy face, happy face, happy face, yours, happy face, happy face. Everyone's smiling. Except this guy. But there's a little Mona Lisa smirk going on there. But is that a conscious decision by you? Do you run the social medias, by the way, or do you have someone do that for you?
Yeah. So my main, operationally, one of the things I do is marketing, and social media is one of the pieces right now. But if anyone out there listening loves to get really good at social media, they should reach out to me, because I have a job for you. No, but we've had several people doing social media, and but yeah, it's an interesting thing. Like, I talked to a coach about this the other day. It's like when you're a business owner, then that's your obligation. Like, if you want to feed your staff, you have to do whatever it takes to bring in more people, and then you also have to do whatever it takes to share the stories of the people that you have. And so I'm trying to lead by demonstration, and then we'll see what it brings. But I do it for now, and I mean, I've helped many gyms with that too. But it's a simple line of thought, is that you want to talk to the people that are shit scared about starting. It's not to the competition people or anything like that.
No, and I'm glad you mentioned these guys, because I'm assuming this is your team at the gym.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, your coaches. Cool. And I know part of the Two Brain ethos is looking after the coaches and really investing in them. But is that something that you kind of felt that you were going to do anyway, or was that something that you found Two Brain sort of brought out in you?
Yeah, I think so. Like we've after doing this for, I mean, I've done management before in companies, but this is a different ball game. One of the things that I've really thought about when it comes to team building is that these are the people that you're going to spend the most time with over a day. So you want to be particular with choosing people that you like to spend your time with, and obviously, yes, if you take care of people, the staff, then they will take care of the clients. I would not say, or anyway, say that I have been the best in the past, but it's like a constant thing to work on and to become better. And into your brain on for many gym owners is about like taking that leadership role, and sometimes it's to take punches also. And one thing I really like that I took from Dan Martell is basically ask your staff, tell me what things have you, where have you I let you down in the last 6 months. And I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to tell you why or whatever excuses. Just tell me so I know where I let you down.
That's a real tough question to ask.
Yeah.
And well, with the proviso, it could be an easy question to ask, but as long as you listen to the answer, it's a tough question to, a tough pill to swallow is getting that feedback.
Yeah.
But that's the only way you're going to learn and develop, isn't it? Because I guess the coaches and the staff, once they've understand that there's a level of trust, they will be a lot more honest with you earlier on than members will be.
Yeah, I mean that is the case, right? When you have a team and you have a gym, and especially in CrossFit gyms, this is such a hard line for many coaches to draw. As like you have so tight relationships with the members, and yeah, it's hard sometimes for coaches and for staff to know, like, am I on which side am I standing on right now? So I'm trying to be pretty clear with that because many of our coaches come from nurturing the right people inside the gym and extending them. But it's basically, hey, as soon as you start working as a professional, then now you have a professional relationship with every member, meaning as soon as somebody pays you for doing something, now you have to act as a professional. And that also means, like, when you're socially interacting with anyone, you need to draw that line, like, hey, if you talk shit about my work, then I will need to leave, for example. So yeah, I think that is something that is like good to install and understand, like, this is my main priority, and if it's not, that's fine, but then you should not work.
Yeah. There's this funny transition that we talked about it on the show the other day about professional. It's almost what the athletes are trying to do at the moment, which I don't really get involved with, professionalizing. The affiliates have had to do a pretty similar kind of thing the last few years. It went from a guy with a dog in the back of a van pulling up at 6 o'clock, opening the shutter, coaching a few hours a day, earning enough to pay for his income, and that was it. But now we're in a completely different place with CrossFit, where we have to professionalize. I know it sounds silly because we are technically professionals earning money, but we've had to professionalize affiliate owners, haven't we? A lot of them didn't come from a background like yours in business development. Yep, halfway. I've done the top half. I'm still getting out the courage to the bottom half. I've got a question for Magnus. this is very specific, so I have no context here. Is Richard living living life based on Pibis or Bams's view of life? Now you'll have to explain that to me because I haven't got a bloody clue what that means.
So he's referring to Pippi Longstocking, and then to Bamse, which is a Swedish cartoon for kids, written by Swedish socialists in the 70s.
Okay, politics.
Yeah, and
Okay.
yeah, I haven't done too much analysis of Pippi or Bamses. I just know that both of them are very appreciated by my kids, so I let them for sure
Right.
absorb that. That's my trick to get them to speak Swedish, so they have some times to watch those.
Awesome.
Do I prefer any of them? I don't think so. I don't have any.
Right. Okay. And I was going to say, if it's anything political, we'll leave that to Savon. I don't get involved with politics. So we're going to take one step back. So Two Brain Business. At what stage did you become aware of Two Brain Business? Did you stumble upon it? Was it via someone else? So can you kind of talk through your introduction to Two Brain?
Yes. So I was doing something very similar to you, or exactly what you're doing. So I 2017, when we opened the gym, kind of the first thing I knew I wanted to do was to start a podcast in this scene. And the idea for this was that there were no podcasts back then, or not so many. It was like Tim Ferriss and a couple other ones, but that was it. And I thought, like, yeah, we're going to be the first, like, it was like Barbell Shrugged in the US maybe, and then yeah, this is my opportunity to do something here in Europe. And so I started one, and I started to text people, and I got like almost everyone you wrote back then were like, hey, yeah, sure. I think I had one author like from Israel or New York. He was like, how many listeners do you have per episode? That was the only one who was like asking for some more details, but otherwise everyone else jumped on boat. So 2018, then 1 year later, 1.5, I texted Coop, and I asked him if he wanted to be on the podcast. And that's how I got to know Chris Cooper, who is the founder of Two Brain. And I think I stumbled on Chris Cooper via a podcast from Savan, from the CrossFit podcast. And so I was like, okay, I'll text that guy too. And then I got to know him. And then half a year later, I got to meet him in person in Stockholm for Coaches Congress. And then I was like, okay, this is the shit. This is what we need to do. And we start to implement all kind of stuff. We read the books, and then I think it was 2020. I was sitting with a coach, and I was explaining him about like all the great things with Two Brain, and they do this and we do that, and all these things. I've just read this and I've implemented these things and so on. And he was like, oh, that's cool. It's like, why are you not in the mentorship program then? And I'm like, that's true. Like, why am I not? So yeah, and then I signed up as a mentee to start with. Yeah.
Excellent. So, and what year is this? So 2020, you say?
That was 2020. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Okay. And okay, so talk us through the like mentorship program, because I it's not something I'm massively aware of within Two Brains. So yeah, how so you've applied to be a mentee. How does that work within Two Brain?
Yeah, so it has evolved over the time, but basically what Two Brain looks at is that, can we help you basically as a gym? And so every gym owner comes in with their own kind of problems. Some are really on the brink where they need to find a way to survive. Other ones are, maybe are just more chaotic, but they're just working their asses off and have no time for family, they're on the brink of divorce, they're on the brink of all these other things. And also the common trait is like just what I mentioned before, is that some of them are now transitioning into like becoming parents. And they're like, shit, I'm not going to be able to be at the gym from 5 a.m. till 10 p.m. anymore. My wife will kill me or my husband. So many of them come in at that point, and they want to structureize and get an idea. And for some, it's like, they've been at the same point for like years, and they haven't been able to develop. And for some of them, it becomes clear when you can just walk through some metrics of like, well, how many members do you have? What's the ARM? What's the leg? What's the how many hours do you work? And they can't answer any of these questions basically. And it's like, okay, that's an epiphany. So they start looking into that, and they're like, shit, I actually earn less than a cab driver, like a taxi driver, per hour. And that's not going to be sustainable. So I can tell you one major mind opener for me was one of the books from Chris Cooper called Founder, Farmer, Tinker, Thief. And this book is a book that I have bought and gifted to almost everyone I know that has a business, because it's not really so much related to gym business, but still it tells you a lot of where you are in your entrepreneurial journey. The founder phase is basically, well, when you found the business, you're doing all the things in the gym, you don't earn maybe nothing. And the goal is to get as quickly as possible to the farmer phase. And in the farmer phase, that's now you have the restaurant. You're maybe not cooking every meal, but you need to be in the restaurant every day and kicking someone's ass, and always checking in on people that they're doing what they're doing. And basically the restaurant is not running without you opening it. You cannot be away from it too long. You're still operationally very involved. And the tinker phase now is like you're stepped out of the restaurant. You are still owner of the restaurant, but you have a manager who runs the restaurant. You don't even know that much of what happened maybe that day or that week. You might sign like some paychecks. You might, because you are the master when it comes to gastronomic knowledge, you might get input from the other world and write down the new recipes for the next year and plan, so on. And then the next level after that is kind of the thief phase, and that's where you built a legacy of, you have so much money, so you can basically, do charity forever, and you're not doing any business related stuff on a daily basis.
So there's a flow to these 4 stages.
Yeah, and in Two Brainwave, basically we see where people are at, and we just pick them where we're at, and then we try to move them upwards. And we've set like some targets. So the first target is the 100K net owner benefit goal. That's in the growth stage. Some gyms need to have more. Some gyms don't need to have as much, depending on where you live. It makes a big difference. Like 100K in New York is not as much as 100K in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And then we move them up, and if they're happy, and they might discontinue with Two Brain because they've reached their goal, and that's great. Some people are like going in for that tinker stage where they're into starting to build their legacy, and that might be opening up multiple gyms or going into other businesses.
Yeah. And okay, so obviously as a mentee, how many people would you have on your mentorship program? How many people would you talk to weekly, for example?
So me as a mentor, it depends. so everyone that is a mentor. So first, everyone that is a mentor has been a mentee, meaning you've
Yeah.
been doing your work. You've been, following the mentorship, and you've also shown improved success. And then you basically get recommended, or if there is like sometimes an opening once a year or so, you can apply, and they get tons of applications. And if you're lucky, you get interviewed. And if you get interviewed, you need to do a couple of tests, and then you proceed into mentorship as a mentorship training them for a while before you start. And when you then are a full-blown mentor, now you start to work with a couple of clients, and then slowly build it up. And I think how many you have depends on the mentor and what that mentor wants to do with his or her time. For me personally, I'm doing about 15 clients at the moment.
Wow. Yeah. That's quite significant. I wasn't expecting that amount, but that's really interesting to hear. Obviously, your level of input with each of them will be varied, I'd imagine. But that's quite the task, and quite an accolade and a responsibility for you. So they must feel like you're worthy, so to speak.
Yeah.
So this is mad. This was obviously last year. 1,000 gym owners. Now these are all, I'm assuming, people on Two Brain within the mentorship program. Is that right?
Not everyone. So this is in Chicago. There's like a yearly summit, and Chris Cooper calls this like the CrossFit Games for the gym owners, basically. But Two Brain doesn't make any money on this. It actually loses money on the event. But it's like a get together. Most of the people are in Two Brain, and but there's also a lot of gyms that are not, and they come there for this weekend because it's really action packed. So many of them come to this weekend, and they get like really, usually they do the work in the room together with all these other gym owners, and then they implement these things, and their gym revenue goes up, and then they have enough money, so they start with mentorship and so on.
Excellent.
So that's kind of how it escalates.
Awesome. Yeah. It's things like that we don't necessarily see outside of Two Brain, that we don't have exposure to that, and it's the added value that we get, that like incremental value that you see other than just earning more money, and getting advice. That it's those kind of things. I had a lady on yesterday, Hannah, and she runs an organization, a charity in the UK that's helping disadvantaged kids get into CrossFit and building affiliates and help bridging gaps between social workers, kids and their families, and then schools and affiliates. So this incredible business model that she's made. But the CrossFit Foundation have helped fund that and have awarded free affiliates within schools. And this thing that CrossFit offer, I know this is different because it's CrossFit rather than Two Brain, but how many people know about that? How many people are aware of this incredible job that HQ do and give this funding and money and resource? Chuck Carswell was involved and helping out. People don't know about this stuff, and it's such a shame that it's not more promoted and known about. And I found it interesting looking through the Two Brain accounts over the last few weeks. I'm because Chris was on Savon's show, and it's kind of sparked my interest a bit. But yeah, it's incredible to see how much there is out there available that isn't necessarily kind of readily understood and known. So it was just seeing 1,000 gym owners coming together and at a congress was quite awesome to see, which is good.
And matter of fact, I'm a keynote speaker this year there. So for anyone that wants to get there, that would be a great honor. But I'm also going to give you some value, and so if anyone is going there, just hit me up.
And is that in Chicago again this year, Rickard?
That's in Chicago, first weekend of June. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, I'm sure we've got a few people in the chat that will That'll be going to that for sure. I don't want to skip over Two Brain too fast. However, I know that we're pressed for time today, so I'll move on to the next thing. And one quite big thing, the Coaches Congress. I want to talk to you about that. Talk me through how your involvement in there and how you got involved. Because again, Sevan had a guest on a couple like last week about this, and it's not something that many people know about CrossFit and that they offer. So yeah, if you could just give me a brief rundown in your involvement and how you got involved with that.
Oh yeah, for sure. So we go back to Chris Cooper. We go back to 2019 in Stockholm. That was Coaches Congress, and the founder Per Mattsson, who I got to know, then 2019. He was running it, and after that event, I basically went into his office, said like, we need to do this in Germany. And he was like, oh, so what's your idea? And I said, well, let's think about it. And then, next year I started with Two Brain, and I was working with Per as a mentor then. And he, so we had a couple of chats about it. COVID came, lockdown, so everything got put on ice, basically. And then I think it was 2022, it was in Chicago at the summit, Two Brain Summit. We had breakfast together and we said like, okay, we're going to do this now. And I said, yeah, I mean, if you're not doing this with me, I'm going to do this by myself. And basically he said, okay, let's do it. And then he checked in with Henrik, who he was running the Coaches Congress with. And from that on, it kind of began, and there was no formal company or anything, and that kind of started to happen then. So we launched Berlin, Coaches Congress Berlin that year, 2022, and it was was not expected to go that well. So it went pretty well, and then we signed up for a second year. And second year it went even better. So we doubled for the next year. It became like one of the biggest ones, or if not the biggest ones. And after that year, I actually stepped down from doing any operations in that. And Per and Henrik and Heather are now like running this entire thing. So I'm just a happy participant now and advocate of going to this conference, which again unites a lot of people. And so a lot of people maybe look at what's the speakers doing, what's the workshops, and so on. Everyone I know, when it comes to fitness, when it comes to coaches, when it comes to all the personal connections I have that I can tap into when I need any help or comfort or whatever, those are people that I've met at the conferences, right? So that's why I need to go, and that's why I tell everyone to go. It doesn't matter what's on the who's on the stage that much. It's actually the people you get to know, and then I mean, to be honest, like the quality of the speakers and everything has been so good. It has helped so many people. It saved many gyms. So yeah, it's a no-brainer for what I think the ticket price could be like 10x, but it's very cheap because most gym owners are simply broke, so they are not able to put that much money.
How much is the cost? How much is the cost of a ticket?
It's been about 200 to 300 quid per
wow.
ticket. Yeah.
Yeah, that's quite a lot of value, isn't it, for the weekend?
Yeah. It's like a high rocks event, basically. But
yeah, exactly. Yeah, but less running.
Yeah,
hopefully.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to the London one. That's in October this year, and I think Rich Fronin's been kind of announced as a kind of a guest speaker over there. So it is my nearest one, and I'm extremely lazy, so I'm going to travel all the way to London from where I live to go to that one. So I'm pre-registered for that, and I'm excited for it, even though I don't own an affiliate anymore. I think as a CrossFit coach, there's a hell of a lot we can do to invest in it, in our time and our development, and it's still a really important piece. And like we said earlier, the professionalization of the affiliates they are dependent on the coaches. They're your front desk. That they're the front facing people that fulfill the actual product and service. So investing in something. I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but investing in something as minimal as €200, dollars, pounds, whatever it is, for that emotional investment that you get back from there, and the knowledge and the wisdom and the sharing of experience, it's unparalleled. There's not many other businesses that you can get that from, that you can share practice there.
No, and one thing when you said the professionalization, that people might get like this yucky feeling or a taste in the mouth when you say something like that, because CrossFit is all about fun and so on. And I agree, like it is fun. Sorry, it is really fun. And
you can swear.
the professionalization is the following fact, that the world has changed so much in fitness just the last decade or 15 years, meaning that there are a lot of other things going on now that were not there 10 years ago or 15 years ago, meaning there are copies, there are like high intensity stuff out there on the market. When you opened a CrossFit gym 15 years ago, 10 years ago, there was not so much other things going on, meaning you didn't have to be that professional, because there was only this one. So this is the only place where it's like high intensity. And then now you have like all these type of franchises and so on exploding on local markets even. You have the global brands, of course. So yeah, you need to be more professional now to actually bring people to the thing that really works, and not the gimmicky stuff that are out there. And that's why you need to be more professional now, because all the otherwise people are just going to end up in the gimmicky stuff, and they're going to say high intensity is just bullshit.
Yeah, we find ourselves at a funny kind of juncture, don't we? In our industry, we've kind of, obviously you've got the traditional gyms, but we've heard it time and time again. You go to any gym now, especially I'm talking from my experience in the UK gyms, you go to any of the gyms, there's a functional fitness area now. There's kettlebells, there's barbells, there's men and women doing weightlifting, there's platforms, even British weightlifting. Our NGB in the UK, in Great Britain, has exploded the last 10 years. The participation rates, the events are selling out, and they're needed to expand over a week. The age groups are filling up, the masters groups, the legends groups are all filling up, even powerlifting, all these offshoots. And then you get into the space of your F45s, your Orange Theories, your High Roxes, and as an event. I'm a firm believer that if CrossFit hadn't been around, if Greg hadn't come up with this incredible fucking offering, none of that would be around now. None of it. We'd still be stuck with something when we'd have a rower in the corner that everyone uses for 5 minutes at the beginning of a muscle building session. You'd have the treadmills, you've had the magazines on the cross trainers, and you'd have the guys doing the bench press. But there's nothing wrong with bench press. I'll do it like 5 times a week, but it would still be that static kind of stagnant kind of environment. And as the forefront and the leaders of that over the last 23 years or so, we've now come to a point where we're kind of complacent a little bit. We should be able to be the runners without any thought, we know this is our thing. But guess what? We're not the only ones now. We're having to move on and develop and adopt a lot of these new things that are coming around. And it is a free market, whether you like it or not. There's a hell of a lot of opportunity for people all across the world to develop these offshoots, these events, whether it's an event, whether it's an alternative gym, whether it's something where they've just taken out the rig out of a gym and then they offer everything else that we do, whether it's fitness in 45 minutes instead of the hour, we can do it quicker. In the inner cities, that's where F45 is absolutely smashed in cities. You got your young working professional wants to get in 45 minutes, get a sweat on, think they're double R because they're doing kettlebell front rack lunges, and then they go back to their office and they feel good about themselves. There's so many other options now, but you and I know we've got the best one. And it's about how do we still convince people? How do we move on now that the market's expanded incrementally? It's just grown. It's grown and grown and grown. And as sorry.
That is a great point you're making, because the thing is, when you start to professionalize and you have this masses going through, so this is great for you as a professional, because all these people that are doing kind of, as I see it, they are getting warmed up in these other products. And if you're the best, they're just going to extend to you, and because they're going to look for the next thing. And you're going to be ready for them there if you are in the right mindset of, again, I love it because it expands the market. Like the German market, for example, 8% of the population has a gym membership. It's nothing. So if these other brands are kind of growing the cake, that's just awesome, because the next stage is going to be your gym.
Yeah, exactly. It's a stepping stone. All of these other, we know we've got the end result. We've got where people end up. We just got to let the other people do their thing and feed into us, which is why the whole, we talked about it. I don't want to keep going back to High Rocks, but becoming a High Rocks affiliate to get other people through the door, to then see the power, to see the cleaning, to see the gymnastics, to see the hour sessions, to see everything that goes with CrossFit, and they go, oh, what's that? I quite fancy that. Oh, I thought CrossFit was where those guys have all got their shirts off and they're doing muscle ups and I can't do it. Actually, that's definitely not what we do, most of us. So in you come, right? You're a CrossFit member now. And guess what? You can train and do a High Rocks at the same time, which is great. But yeah, it's that feeling, and Sean's just said, Sean, I know it isn't a whimsical comment, but it's the thing is when you know what you've got, it's kind of like you're a father. I don't know if you do the whole Santa Claus thing, which obviously everyone should because he's real. But it's knowing full well what they've got waiting for them downstairs under the tree. You know what's down there and you're excited for them and you're getting hyped up, but you've got to remain a little bit calm and just guide them down the stairs, down under the tree, and then you can watch them. It's really hard not to get excited when you know how fucking life-changing this service and this thing that we've got is. We just need to be able to actually deliver it. And Two Brain and people like yourselves and the Coaches Congress and all of these extras that we've got at our disposal, they're opportunities for us to do that. And we just need to get people excited again for being in the box and for CrossFit. And that's all that's missing at the moment. It's just a little bit of excitement, and we need that back. And I think the right people are in the right positions now. And I think the amount of media that we've got now is exciting.
Yeah, I mean, literally speaking, the thing that makes CrossFit grow now is are the affiliates. So the best gyms are the ones who are making the best promotion, and I think it's that's the biggest opportunity that every gym now has. You have a strong name, so, or hopefully have still in the market. It might depend, I don't know. But you can use it. You can also use your flair of it, and just like I say, like we talked about the social media and stuff, show how good it is and show the people, make them famous. I think that is like the recipe of CrossFit, was making people famous that were just regular Joes or trainers or coaches or losing 100 pounds or whatever.
That's such a good point. That's a really good way of thinking about that. I never really thought about it that way. We, even at the affiliate level, you would support and clap on, and everyone would wait till the last person's finished their WOD, and no one would give a shit about the person who finished first. It was always that last person. Everyone stood around clapping them, even if they didn't want to. They were famous for 5 minutes after the workout. And we would promote those people, and everyone got a little bit of the limelight, and that's really interesting. And early days of CrossFit, obviously, it was the affiliate owners, it was the fire breathers that ended up in the media and being promoted. But now with the athletes being slightly distinct away from that, I guess that's slightly moved on that way. So the focus for us guys has got to be back on the affiliates and promoting the everyday person, like you said. That's a really interesting way of thinking about that. I haven't done that before.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest opportunity every gym has, is just to make their own people famous.
Yeah, which your Instagram account absolutely nails. So you're definitely practicing what you preach there. Rickard, what's next for you? So you've taken a step away from organising the Coaches Congress. You're with Two Brain. I'm assuming you've got no plans to move away from Two Brain, because I guess once you're in there, you're in. What's next for your gym? What's next for you? Any family plans?
So right now, it's really, I want to create the next level of, let's say, affiliate or gym, and I'm working on a secret project for for helping gyms getting better and faster results for their members. And basically, I'm just developing a method for them to easily implement. And that's just something I want to work on. That's kind of maybe, hopefully, going to be one part of the legacy I want to do. But that is one of the things. And then, yeah, I'm looking at creating a great role model for any gym or affiliate out there, so they can look at it and copy and paste it. And so that is kind of one of my projects now for the next 2 years. I can send you my vivid vision, and you can see I'm going to publish some books and be on some TV shows and stuff. So,
Oh, amazing! Is that within Germany?
The books will not be within Germany, but the idea is to be in Germany. But that's the vision, and that's where it kind of gives me a bit of a direction to work towards.
Yeah.
And the more I put out there about it, like today is one way to kick myself in the butt to get more and better.
Accountability, as we preach as coaches and affiliate owners, accountability. Get yourself to the gym, be accountable. So we need it as well.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's great. Well, Rickard, thank you so much for your time. It's been really good getting to know you and all your multifaceted life that you've led. We haven't even looked at your travel. I keep banging on about your travel. It's insane the amount of countries you've been to. It's like just flicking through your Instagram account. Every other post is a different country. So I'm going to call you Phileas Fogg from now on, I think. Thank you so much for your time. Everyone, if you can check out Escapist in Berlin, amazing affiliate run, obviously, by Rickard and the team.
Thank you.
Go check them out.
By the way, you said something about Windsor.
Windsor, right? Yes, yeah.
So I know the affiliate there, a gas station. They're in
gas station. Yeah.
They're also in these arches, right?
Yes, that's exactly what it is. So yeah, my affiliate, I had two at the time. So I had one in Windsor, and I had one in Eton, which is the college that's about a mile away. I had the two there for quite a few years, and I sold up to move away. And gas station opened up in one of the old train stations. So underneath the train bridge in there, it's like a really old bloody, probably. Well, it's Industrial Revolution, so it's it's a good 300 years old. But the architecture in Windsor is insane. It's a beautiful gym and a beautiful thing. So yeah, it was. My friend Barry was manager there, but he's moved and started his own one down the road. So he's a good guy. But yeah, no, excellent. Yeah, it's a lovely town where the Queen used to live, where the King lives now. So yeah, if you're in the neighbourhood, check it out. But yeah, so Rickard, thanks for your time. Chat. Thank you very much for being here. Rickard, just stay on the line for a sec. We'll have a quick chat after we've gone. But thanks, guys. I'll be back on Sunday with a very special guest next week. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the show, and I'll speak to you